I wanted to take a look at our city very quickly because this is where we're starting our episode, and we might come back here at some point during this episode to do a few more things, but I just thought I'd stop and show you what this place has been looking like. Since the last episode, I've just been walking around. You can see I even got into a little bit of texturing, but I've just been walking around here so amazed at the way that this place is turning out. Even look at this angle right over here. It's just, I can't get enough of it. Even though we're not going to be anywhere near it today, man, I'm just so happy. Look at that. It's starting to come together. Picture that start to pull together and man, it's going to look good. I'm very excited for that. But today, you know what? We're not anywhere near that. As I say, we are going to be all the way on the other end of the island, right over here at another island, actually, the test island. I kind of feel like it's our real test dummy today. If you haven't been keeping up with us, what we've been doing is we've been getting ready for a massive, big biome build in here. And I know there's a lot of bees in that. That was unintentional, but I think it's going to work quite well if we keep using them. But what I want to do today is I want to start off with a little biome over here. Well, the same biome, but a little island of it. What that is going to give us is an idea of whether or not we are completely deluded and we should just give up on the biome thing now, or whether or not it is going to look really good, which is what I'm expecting this to turn out to look good right here today. So that's what I want to get started on. And of course, if you guys haven't seen the trees, if you haven't seen what's going on, a few episodes back, we went through and we did a test of the actual trees and the ground and all that sort of stuff. And man, I got to tell you, it looks good. It's very, very good. Actually, you know what? I just realized this is our test island, and it even is a bit more like a test kind of secret laboratory sort of thing. Because right under here is our villager breeder. Look at that. These test dummies. Now, these are the real dummies, right? All right, so what I want to do, actually, you know what? There might be some goodies in here that we might find useful later on. Keep that in mind, just in case, because so many times I run back to the base, and then I've had a junk chest at the bottom that I could have found something good in. But what I've done is I've gone ahead, grabbed all the stuff we're going to need for the trees today, and I want to tackle this project with a little bit of logic. So we're going to start off with the trees. That's going to give us a nice height and also give us the idea of how much we have to work with at the bottom. So for instance, from the base of the tree to where the leaves begin, we're going to see how much space we can fill up in there. So it's going to be a little bit wild in there. Then once we've got the trees in, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get the ground working for us. And I think the trees are going to be the biggest time-consuming thing. So I'm really thinking this is going to go quite quick once they're in. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead, get a few in. Let's just check if I'm a little bit rusty. I'll kind of shake off the dust. But if not, we'll have to do a few more trees just to get ourselves into that tree building spirit. So let's go ahead, get a few in, and I'll show you what we've got going on. Here it is. This is exactly what I was thinking of. And by the way, I was a little bit rusty, and I've kind of had to just go ahead and take this a little bit slower, but I think we're going to be good and fast enough to get this done in a reasonable time, at least, because these forests, they can really suck you in, let me tell you that much. Like, all of a sudden, you'll be thinking like, hey, I'm going all right. There's 3 trees down. You look up and you've got another 20. It's pretty crazy, but right there, look at that. It's got a few little awkward bits, like you see that there, right there. That seems a little bit weird when you look at it. But I think it's going to be good because it creates a little bit of a weird shape to the trees. Because remember, this is a natural forest. This is just sitting out in the middle of, well, on the edge of the island. There's nothing that's going to be looking after these to make sure they're neat and all that sort of stuff. That's just the way the tree is growing. And of course, once we start building a few of them, they're going to start adding together and you won't even notice that sort of stuff. What I want to really show you guys, and this is for people who might not have seen it, this is one of my favorite little bits, is I've actually got branches in this tree and I've managed to get them to be at least properly hidden while still adding to the tree, because every time I've ever tried to make branches in a tree, they've always looked, I mean, I want to just say janky, I think is the word. They've just not been up to the standard that I want them to be. And I think for now, at least, I'm very happy with the way that these have turned out. And of course, as I say, I think, you know, I'm probably completely wrong on this one, but I think it's about 3 episodes ago that we did the testing of the trees. If you guys want to see what those were like and what to expect this whole area to be like, maybe before I finish the video, you can always check back to that. But really, I'm very excited for the way this biome is going to turn out. So now, of course, as I say, I've got a whole load of trees that I need to build, and they're going to take me a little bit of time. So there's no better way to do this than to go ahead, put on the replay mod, and get a full-on time lapse of this thing. And we can see how this whole island comes together super quickly and hopefully in a very good way. Replay mod is a go. So, of course, if it's not obvious, these little stumps are going to be where we're going to be putting up all of our trees. And it didn't seem like too many until I started building them. And I've got to tell you, I finished them all, but man, it looks good when this is done. So hold up for a few minutes and you're going to be very impressed. Now, while we're up here and we are doing our good old time lapse, I thought, why not go through a few cool things about this area? Because I don't like to do music over time lapses. It's, first of all, just waiting for YouTube to come back with a copyright claim. And second of all, I just find it a little bit cheesy. So I thought, let's go and get into a few little interesting statistics, because there's nothing I like more than seeing the numbers related to something that looks reasonably organic. And the first thing was, if you guys recall, if you're new to the channel, of course, you got to check back for this, but my birch forest that we've got just to the north of here, which is hard to miss, we managed to hit 30,000 blocks mined, and I thought it was 30,000 placed, but it was actually 26,000 birch leaf blocks placed, which is absolutely insane. And the reason why I'm coming to these cool statistics is because when we look at what we were about to do, I think we're about to make this number look stupid. Like, this number is going to be tiny by the time we're done. Because what I have done is I've gone ahead and done this little piece over here, this one island, which is probably going to be made 4, 5, who knows how many times. And the amount of blocks that we've used for this is 6,451 mined and 6,000 placed practically. So we've got a ridiculous amount of blocks that we're going to be placing ahead of us. And I just thought that was a cool number. So just to see how much we're going to get up to, it's going to be absolutely insane. Now, another cool statistic was how long it took me to build this piece. And I suspect I'll get faster at it, even more than what we have so far. But this took me 3.5 hours to do this little piece here, just in terms of the trees, obviously, not the rest of it. I haven't actually done the rest of it just yet. But between the supplies and between the actual building, I mean, this piece probably could take me about 4.5 hours or so. So it made me think about what we are going to be doing in the future with the whole big area to the western side of this, because that's going to be all full of trees. So we've got a lot of placing to do there. First thing I've thought about is I'm going to space the trees out just a little bit more than what I've done here, just to kind of break up the task a little bit. But besides that, I'm going to be doing piece by piece. So I won't do it in a big time lapse, at least for now. I don't think I will. I'll just do it in a small, like bite-sized chunks every day, maybe a few trees. And all of a sudden they'll add up to a lot of trees. So that's my plan there. And of course, for supplies, I was thinking about how we got our birch supplies. And for that, we destroyed an entire birch biome, which I'm sure most people aren't too upset about. But for the spruce one, I really don't think it's a viable way of doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep growing a large amount of trees and removing their leaves, cutting them down to the bottom. And I think that's an easy way to do it. And of course, that's going to take also quite a lot of time, but I think it's going to work. So I think that's enough time lapse for us there now. Of course, everything's looking mighty fine, and I've got to show you what it looks like from the bottom, because that is where it's really starting to pop. Here it is. Look at that. So good from the bottom. I've really, really loved the way this has turned out. And of course, you know, as I say, with the time lapse, we've got a lot of stuff coming ahead of us that we're going to need to do. But for now, I'm just so pleased with this. This is what I was talking about just before I lose you guys in context of how much room we have to cover. All of this around here, so all this that is blank right now, is going to be covered with spruce trees. Not only that, probably, well, my plan was to go a little bit in this way until we eventually met up with the main city. So a lot of space, even just over here. Look at this. I think this is going to blow your mind if you don't know what I'm talking about. It is ridiculous. All this down here as well. So it's going to take me a lot of hours to do this. And of course, as I say, the best way is bit by bit, and it won't feel like a chore. So that's what I'm going to do with it, of course. But for now, let's mess around with this little island over here. And I've got some ideas for it. So one thing is, when we moved these villagers in, I noticed that I didn't actually cover up this hole here for sure. This one I plan on having, but this one down on this side of the island, I didn't end up covering up. And this was where I took them by boat. and shot them in here and eventually dropped them into their spot. But I ended up covering that up like a smart guy because, of course, the zombies would have got them. But what I want to do is I think if we are going to mess around with it, because this island's going to be reasonably useless when we're done with it. It's just going to be an island, kind of like that one. Nothing really on it. What I think we'll do is let's just make this a little bit more fun and a little bit more exciting and make a little bit of a strange story that doesn't have to tie in with the rest of the land. It just has to tie in with the island. So I want to make this look like a little secret lair entrance. So something a little bit hidden as if it was built to hide these villagers in here. And then we'll just do a simple little hidden, I don't know, probably rock thing over here. Great idea. A little rock thing over here that we could maybe have a trapdoor and pretend like we're hiding something down there, which we really are. So I think that's what we'll do next. And then after that, I think it's time to get started with a little bit of the groundwork, because that's going to make this place really pop off. All right, this is super weird, but I literally just said, place is going to really pop off. Yeah, you remember that, right? That was literally a few seconds ago. I hit the stop recording button and then I heard this weird screech and it freaked me out. I haven't heard it before, but look at that. We've got ourselves a cat in here and I don't have a village. I think they spawn in villages now, but that is my first ever cat that I've got walking around here. Was that actually an ocelot? It didn't really look like it ran away from me intentionally. Yeah, no, that's not an ocelot. That's a domestic cat. So I'm assuming we've got a village in here that is causing cats to spawn. That's very cool. Cat Island, maybe we could find some sort of a name for this place, but that was very odd, and it really did freak me out because I was thinking, I'm like, that's not a llama. I don't even know what that is. It was just weird. It was not expected, and it really messed with my mind. So, of course, back to me gathering supplies before I forget about that. And we can get to some building. Oh, they are looking so good over there. Look at that, just over the edge there. Look at these. Those ones, those ones. Eventually our whole world's gonna be custom trees. It's gonna be awesome. So, while I've got all this, because of course trees are now done, we're gonna get onto the ground now. And of course, I've got myself the little task of adding in the hidden areas. It's just to make it a bit more exciting, you know? Because else I could just make this area all kind of just land. And then it gets boring and then I'm sick of it. So doing little things like this, I'll probably end up forgetting about it probably 2 months down the track and then come back down here after a year and say, wow, I forgot about this. Yeah, this one goes over here. Wow, that's amazing. You know, it's not really that amazing, but it's cool. It's nice to see. Yeah, exactly. So, oh, I've put the one empty one that I had. So I've got a whole bunch of supplies. This is for the ground. So we've got ourselves all of this coarse dirt, which is actually not going to be a lot for the time we have over there, but it'll be enough for today. All this sort of stuff. We've got ourselves specific flowers. So cornflowers, azure bluettes, and alliums are the main flowers of this biome. And of course, some dead bushes and ferns. They can't go too. You can't go wrong with those, of course. So let's just grab a few of these out. I want to make a little entranceway as if it's a broken down spy entrance, I guess, really is what I'm looking for. And also, I've got my oak logs. Wonderful. So let's go head down here, and I think maybe this might be a bit close. So if we go here, I want to still leave the water running in, but I want to make it look as if there's a little bit of a collapse of this, and this is forgotten, maybe. So let's just see how it turns out. I want to just put a little bit of stuff around here, and we probably actually have to break around a lot of this stuff. Sadly, I haven't done any terraforming on this island, if it wasn't obvious, but it had a good shape, so I thought we would leave it for a bit and see how it goes, just because, of course, terraforming is a whole nother little monster to deal with, and I really didn't want to do that before we could get onto the rest of this stuff. So actually, I do one over here, something like that. Yeah, and then we'll just do some of these. So just something simple. I know it's not exciting necessarily, this little build here, but it's not meant to be. It's meant to be more of just a thing that exists. So can I put that in at an angle like I wanted to? There? Yeah. Good. Okay, wonderful. So we could actually get in here, I guess, if we just swam. Something in like that. And that'll block it, won't it? Okay, well, goodbye, trapdoor. I'll see you later. You know what, that'll do. Just something like this. I think if I maybe add a fence post or something in here, it'll work just a little bit more. It's just to make a little bit of a story that it just creates a bit of intrigue. So something over there. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I won't go get a bucket of water. I'll just do it simple and easy. So there we go. There's first entrance. The second entrance, I think, will be a lot more simple and will look a lot better for sure. And that's this one over here. We just want to put this in with a trapdoor above. I think we'll just do it like that. So it'll open up into this. And we want to make this a little bit more hidden than what it is. Do we have some slabs? We do. Those. And I've luckily, you know what, I'm about to run out of these, but I've got it all cooking down the bottom there. So we're actually all right on food, which is pretty good because normally I end up leaving it to the last minute. I know I'm not the only person who does this. I leave it to the last minute. And then all of a sudden I realize I've got to crawl as slow as I can to try and get as much food as I can. I start eating berries and I start eating everything just because I was too lazy to go get food when I should have got food. There we go. So that over there, I think will be a good way of hiding it. You'll kind of just walk past, see a little bit of a rock. Won't think too much of it. Maybe even, yeah, that'll be all right. We could just do something like this as well. Keep it a little bit lower. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. Not a big deal. So that'll just hide it there. And of course, we'll blend in with the rest of the land. Whenever we have to come down here and deal with these villagers, we've got a nice little entranceway there. So that's good. So I want to kick off the texturing just nice and simply. And I've got a photo of what we are actually doing because luckily, just in there, I've left the groundwork, and that's actually one of the things I was not very familiar with just then. I was trying to think, I'm like, wait, how much did I put of each of this stuff that we were about to put down, and how much grass do we leave in? But it looks like I've left it there, so we're actually all right. So what I want to do is I want to do a little bit of stuff like this, just to create a bit of a rough surface, so the gravel makes it a little bit rough. We've got some podzol as well, which is offhand, and of course coarse dirt. These are the main colors that we're going to go in there with. Actually, we could probably do a little bit more podzol. What? Every time this happens, it freaks me out just a little bit when I hear those bottles. I start thinking it's a witch, and I don't even know if witches make that sound, but it always freaks me out just a little bit. But of course, these guys are awesome. I like these guys. They've been nothing but good to the game, those ones. Out of all the updates, that's one I can say no one's really upset about. You know, no one said this has broken something, although there's probably someone, but it probably has broken some community's way of doing something. But hey, I gotta say that they cool. They're really awesome. So let's just do a little bit more of this and then we'll see if this ground works. Yeah, I think bits of podzol would be better. So if instead of me doing a bit more spread out, if I just did some around the place like this, so they are all clumped, like this is clumped, I think that'll work a little bit better. And then of course a few of these in around here. Yeah, that's good. Just for us to start with. So what I'll do is I'll do this whole patch. I feel like it's actually going to go quite quick. Maybe 15 minutes, get it all done, get all this stuff in here. Then I want to go ahead and start adding some of the bigger things. So for instance, what I was talking about earlier with the area between here and here, you can see it's pretty large, and I want it to be large because I want it to feel like the forest is a lot bigger than what it is when you stand below it. And also, by the way, I didn't even mention, but this is how it looks from the bottom underneath. This is going to be so cool to walk through. I'm very happy with that. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put in some of the very, very small stuff. But I've got some stuff to fill up this gap here, so it feels a lot more full when you stand inside of it. So it kind of seems like it doesn't have an end anytime soon. And there it is. Look at that. Slowly coming together piece by piece. I know it looks a little bit messy, and that's actually the point. But it's one of those things where, as you saw when I built the tree, you know, you see a few sticks. It looks a bit weird, and then bam, it looks good. And this is what we're going for this as well. We hopefully will be doing it. One little thing is I didn't worry too much about the bottom pieces, because in a later episode, I want to come back, maybe next episode or another episode, when we've got some building or something, and we want to get out and about in nature. I think we might just come back and break that episode up with a little bit of terraforming, or maybe just making a cliff face. But look at this. Just look at all this stuff going on here. Yeah, these guys, actually, I don't know why they haven't left. They've been here for ages. I don't know why they don't just go. I'm happy with them here, but still. There we go. One spot. I knew there'd be one that I'd miss. We'll just do that there. So the next stage is I want to add in a bit of the stuff that's going to be a little bit taller. So a few budding trees. How about that? So trees that are on their way up to becoming big trees eventually. So I want to do a few here. We just do something simple like this. And it's actually something which maybe someone out there watching has underestimated, man, these guys with their spitting habits, disgusting. But it's something that I think a lot of people overlook, and I've overlooked for so many years, making these little trees like this, and I'll show you exactly what they look like. Super easy to do, and a good way of filling up the area below a tree, for instance, a spruce tree. We did it with the birch trees as well. It just makes a good little spot, so we'll do a few more of these. 1, 2, 3. Actually, you know what? That one hanging out the side isn't too bad. We'll do actually a few of those in here anyway. Might be a bit too high. Maybe keep it below the top blocks, so something there, and this one will be a little bit wild, and we'll put an extra one in. I swear you're following me. Alright, so we'll do a few of these, and what this will do is this will help block up the area underneath, as I say. And the most important thing about blocking up this area is that it feels like it goes on forever. You can't see the sky coming through the forest is the main point of it. And that allows you to do a few things. First of all, it allows you to do a lot less trees and a lot less forest and get a good payoff from it, which is always good because, of course, this stuff takes forever. Actually, I need to put another block on there. Can I? Oh, look at these stairs I left for myself. Wonderful. Like this, here, and there. Can I get it there? Good. All right. So there's one tree, just like that, nice and simple. And as I say, look at that. Where that would have been a clear view to the sky, it now is no longer a clear view to the sky. So we'll do the same sort of things on these ones. And then the next stage will be obviously getting the ground in and getting a little bit more of the texturing on the ground, which, well, not texturing, sorry, I've done too much texturing today. A little bit of the bushes and the actual groundwork done. So for instance, flowers, rocks, that sort of stuff. And that's going to be the real finishing touches on this. And another thing is in, look at those trees. So good. You see what I'm talking about here, by the way. When we step back, you can hardly see the sky, maybe a few little bits peeking through here and there, but really not too much. And that just gives it this idea that it feels so much larger than it is. And honestly, that's most of what I do. Just try and fool yourself in Minecraft. Just try and make things feel larger than they are like this. Look at that. That feels like it could keep going for a bit, even though we know it ends there. It's very good. So let's go ahead and put a few little bits and pieces around the place. I'm actually running kind of low on flowers, so we're going to have to do a hunt for flowers at some point. But I'm going to just go absolutely wild with them. And I'll tell you why I've chosen the flowers that I've chosen in particular. So I've chosen the white for the azure bluette with a little bit of yellow. Gets a nice little bit of color, not too much. And then I've gone ahead for these ones, which are the cornflowers. They came from the most recent update, the 1.14 update. And they're actually very cool because, well, look at that, double click, my darn mouse. But yeah, they've come from the 1.14 update, along with the Lily of the Valley, if I'm correct. And I thought these ones looked so darn good. You know what? I'll leave those two daisies in there. They not actually planned, but they could stay. But they are so good because they don't go too bright. If you have a look at them, they're kind of like a toned down blue. And that is, in my mind at least, what these sorts of forests look like, where the spruce is growing or whatever these trees are. When they got the groundwork, they don't have too many flowers. In fact, I don't even know if they necessarily even have colorful flowers in them. Maybe they're all just kind of boring flowers, but I thought this will look really good to add in a bit of color. And the same sort of idea applies to these over here. These are the peonies, right? Alliums. Dang it, I always mess these up. And why did I mess them up? They're not even that similar. But yeah, these guys as well. Just a little subtle hint of color. Also drawn out, if you have a look, drawn out purple, drawn out blue. Work very well to each other, work very well together. And the whole idea of this, why I'm thinking so much about the flowers, is because so often I say, hey, let's add color. I go grab flowers at random and just drop them down and hope for the best with them. But to be fair, a little bit of thinking could go quite a long way with these. And look at that. Just a little bit of thinking has done a lot for these flowers, which is great. So now the next stage, obviously flowers. Let's add in a rock or two around the place. And I'm not going to do too many rocks right now. We'll see how we go and see if we need to add in a few more. But I think for now, we're just going to err on the smaller side of rocks, and then we'll go on for a few more. So we'll put in maybe, let's put a bit of cobblestone stair in there, and we'll keep these ones over here as all the rocks that we need. So one in there. And actually I thought that was going to be, I could have sworn I used slabs. So let's just do that there in here. Good. Nice and easy. And now for the final sort of things, actually not the final, but one of the more general main attractions of this is I wanted to add a few of these oak logs lying down, maybe 2 of them, not too many, because else it just becomes a bit unreasonable. Actually, that's going to connect up there. But we don't want it to be too crazy. We just want a few of these to look like they're fallen over trees. And we can put maybe, is it dark enough to put one of those on? Sadly, it isn't. We can put a few of these around. There we go. So that's the idea that I have for this. Just a few little pops of color around the floor. And now the final thing, this is the actual final thing that we need to do. Just put these in here, is we need to get our bone meal and we need to grow a few more ferns and some grass. So the ferns I'll put on podzol and I'll put them on the coarse dirt. And then for the grass, I'll just grow it in there. And if all is correct, this should look like a pretty wild biome. So the really annoying thing with the grass is it just keeps, it's gonna keep dropping all these little poppies and daisies around the place. So I've got to pluck them. So if I'm actually, I guess it's kind of like growing a real garden. You've got some weeds you got to pluck every now and then. There we go, a few of them in there. And we just do a little bit more. And I think we can go ahead and take a step back. So, oh, is that all that grew there? There we go. Take those away. There, and maybe just a little bit down the front. Don't give me any poppies, please. Okay, there we go. So let's go take a step back and have a look at this. I've got high expectations for this. So the moment of truth. Bam. So good. I am actually so happy with that. Look at it. It's quite clearly custom made, and that's what I love about it, but it looks natural in its own right. So the real thing that this is lacking right now, actually let's do this so we can get a full picture of it. Imagine this over here with a little bit of stuff hanging off of it. But the real thing is, once we get the edges of this merged in with the ocean, oh, it's going to be so, so good. And you know what? Just because this is a very special little complete wrapped up with a bow kind of build that we've got here, I think we need to go and do something special. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. I am so, so happy with that. In fact, that's thumbnail ready right there. Bam. Picture taken. Ready for the thumbnail. Actually, we'll get rid of those clouds quick, because they're always the one that I end up forgetting and then I have to take a new screenshot. There we go. Bam. So good. And the purple and blue looks really good. For people wondering, BSL standard, I think it is. But that is so, so awesome. I'm very happy with what we've done today. It's actually taken a little bit more time than I expected, but every second of it has been worth it. Look at that, going through this forest. So good. I am so happy. All right, so thank you very much for joining me here today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed our episode. Of course, we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but we will be getting to it in the near future. So thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.